Good afternoon. I'm Chris Scherer, Communications Director of the Society of Broadcast Engineers, and welcome to the December 2025 SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. This is a monthly SBE meeting usually held on the third Monday of the month. The SBE is the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals with more than 4,000 members, mostly in the U.S., but also around the world. In 1975, the SBE adopted the program of certification to recognize and raise the professional status of broadcast engineers by providing standards of professional competence. Through the years, it has become recognized in the industry as the primary method of verifying the attainment of educational standards. The certification program is a service of the SBE, contributing to the advancement of broadcast engineering for the general benefit of the entire broadcast industry. The program is now 50 years old, and the SBE has launched a program to encourage more people to become certified for the first time or to add another certification to their credentials. I'll talk to SBE Certification Director Megan Clapp. But first, I have the SBE member update for December 22nd, 2025. There are, as usual, lots of upcoming webinars by SBE on the calendar. On January 15th, Ched Kyler presents a brief introduction to SBE self-inspection guides. This presentation covers how to best utilize the guides to conduct a self-inspection of your station and what the process might entail. On January 22nd, Part 2 of the new Building the Broadcast IP Content Network, Audio over IP, is presented by Wayne Pacina. This webinar builds on the fundamentals presented in Part 1 and takes an in-depth look at audio over IP for radio and TV station audio content transport that will include popular industry approaches, AES 67, Dante Livewire, and WheatNet. Part 3 of the series is streamed on February 26 and covers video over IP. Wayne once again will take an in-depth look at voice over IP, focusing on the industry SMPTE 2110 standard. And Part 4 of the series is Architecture and Integration. It streams on March 2nd. Wayne applies the fundamentals and concepts previously presented with a focus on network architecture and integration of AOIP and ST2110 broadcast content in IP-based networks for production, radio, and TV stations. You can always access the entire library of webinars by SBE on demand. For more information on these and all of them, go to sbe.org/webinars. On the certification front, the next chapter exam window is in February. The application date for those exams is January 4th. If you don't want to wait, or if a local chapter exam is not convenient for you or not practical, private proctoring is available. More information on SBE certification is online at sbe.org/certification. You likely know that the SBE membership year runs April through March of each year. Your renewal is due by April 1st. Most members renew online, and that option is available at any time. In January, most members will receive an email reminding you to renew. If you don't have an email address on file, you'll probably get a postcard reminder. There's no need to wait for the reminder, though. You can renew at any time. You can pay with a credit card through our secure online payment system. And if you want to pay by check or need to submit an invoice, you can download the renewal form on the renewal page. At the Board of Directors meeting in September, the board voted to hold the 2026 SBE National Meeting in Madison, Wisconsin during the Midwest Regional Broadcasters Clinic to be held September 15th and 16th. It's not too early to make your plan to attend and include it in your 2026 budget. And while you're planning for the year ahead, the SBE will present an SBE Ennis workshop at the 2026 NAB show on April 22nd and 23rd. This is at the end of the convention, which is a change from years past. It's because there's another major event being held in Las Vegas the opening weekend of the convention. NAB show registration opens this month, so plan early. And that's your SBE member update for December 22nd, 2025. So as I mentioned in the opening, the SBE program of certification reached a milestone 50-year anniversary in 2025. The first certifications came to be because the FCC started to phase out individual licensing requirements for broadcast operations. SBE certification helps you improve your skills and gain recognition for your knowledge and experience through our national testing program. SBE certification provides important benefits to both members and employers. To mark this anniversary, the SBE announced a program to encourage more people to become certified or to add another level of certification to their credentials. On the SBE WEBxtra today, we're going to talk all about things certification and learn about the anniversary incentive program. SBE Certification Director Megan Clapp is with me today. Hi, Megan. Welcome back to the SBE WEBxtra. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for
Good.
having me.
Sure. Always good to
Good.
have you on board here. So I've given a little tease about the program of certification turning 50 years old. But before we do that, tell me about you. How long you been with the SBE and a little bit about some of your duties as certification director.
Oh, goodness. I was not prepared for this. Thanks. Well, I'm Megan Clapp, and I've been with SBE for just over 22 years now. I was first hired in as the certification assistant and was in that role for a couple of years before Linda Bond moved to the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. And I've been in this position since 2006.
All right.
Some of my duties as certification director. I am the admin of the certification program. I'm not an engineer, so I don't write any of the questions. I don't edit any of the questions. I don't know any of the information. I mean, to a point, there's some stuff that I have picked up here and there, but by no means do I know any of it. So I work with the certification committee to implement what they decide the program should look like.
Gotcha. And therefore, you work with the certification committee. They do a lot of the legwork. You're also the chief liaison with the local chapter certification chairs as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So you're the traffic cop of a lot of things. So
Sure.
keep them all honest. So um, we haven't really, well, looking at 50 years of certification, and I didn't pull up some of the info. I probably should have. Um, I know the history being that initially the SBE was trying to protect FCC licensing of individuals because the FCC was looking at getting rid of it, the old first class, third class, et cetera. Um, and the initial push was for the SBE to lean on the FCC and say, no, 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 we need to keep it. We need to keep it. We need a benchmark that people are qualified to do their jobs. And then somewhere along the way, it changed its focus to being, okay, the FCC is going to drop all this. Let's pick up the ball and run. And I know like Ben Wolf and Jim Woolman and there's a third individual, and I've forgotten his name right off the top of my head. Basically are the founders, if you will, of the program of certification. Any other history notes you can think of you want to add to that brief synopsis that I just put out there?
Well, I know that the program was technically it's 50 years now, but the first exams, it took a couple years for those to be implemented, for all the rules to go into play. Just like any program, any new certification, it takes a while for all that to come into play. And even though it's been around for 50 years, those first 2 years were just the implementation of those first core certifications.
Right. Those that I often refer to as the core four.
Right.
So technologist, broadcast engineer, senior engineer, and professional broadcast engineer. Um, so like you said, adopted initially in 75. I think the actual program was firmly established. I think it was by 77, if I remember what I read. Noted the original four. Of course, it's expanded from the original four, core four that we know today. Tell us about some of the other certification levels that exist outside the four I just mentioned.
So the certifications are the way to qualify for the certifications is based on how much experience you have in the field. So we have an entry level certification, which you mentioned, the certified broadcast technologist. Now we also have a certified production technologist, as well as the certified radio operator and television operator. And then I think back in 2001, they added the certified broadcast networking technologist to incorporate some of those networking skills into its own certification. And those are all entry level. The next part of the core four was the certified broadcast radio engineer and television engineer, and they later added the audio and video engineer to kind of encompass people who are in the industry, excuse me, who don't have FCC or RF experience. And then from there, the senior television engineer, the senior radio engineer, I believe it was 2017, I'm probably wrong on that, when they brought in the certified broadcast networking engineer, which is kind of, it requires 5 years of experience, but it's kind of a morph of a senior exam and our regular 5-year level exam, whereas it's a multiple choice and an essay question portion. But that was because the certification committee saw the need to make a higher level networking certification. So you have that entry level networking technologist, and then you have the networking engineer. And then not finally, but finally in that core four is a certified professional broadcast engineer certification, which requires 20 years of experience. And then back in the early 2000s, the committee decided to create specialist certifications, which wanted to kind of hone in on specialties that a broadcast engineer might have. And from there, they have the AM directional specialist, the AVSB specialist, digital radio broadcast specialist, and most recently, the ATSC 3 specialist. So in order to get those certifications, you have to hold a 5, 10, or 20-year certification, but then you kind of just tack it on onto the host certification.
Mm-hmm. And all certifications are valid for a period of
5 years.
And why do we do that?
We do that so that, you guys, by working in the industry, you have to, your information, your knowledge base is relevant, but you have to show that to us that you didn't just get the certification, not do anything for 5 years, and then want to recertify. We want to understand that without retaking it and passing an exam, you still have your educational knowledge has increased throughout that 5 years time.
Right. And unlike, the FCC exams were take it once and you never take one again.
Right.
So 20 years later, yeah, you knew what was going on.
A few things have changed, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's a way to make sure that everyone stays current and up to date on the changes in technology along the way. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about some of the reasons why somebody should get certified in the first place.
Sometimes it's a hard question to answer because those reasons are going to be different for everybody. Everybody's going to have their own basics, and recertifying people will have their own reasons for maintaining and upgrading their certification. One of the number one reasons that we have seen through doing 10 years of our compensation survey is that if you hold a certification or an SBE certification, you get paid more. So if there's nothing else, if it's not for your own personal, I did this for myself, or if it's not that an employer thinks that highly of it or does not think highly of it, if nothing else, getting it to potentially get more money in the job that you put so much time and effort into is what I would say the number one reason. Mm-hmm. I think that it is generally good for our industry. So if you meet someone who is certified, then I think that naturally the progression would be that you would want to get certified too, because typically those people are someone that is very knowledgeable in the industry, and you would want to be just as knowledgeable as them, if not more. And by obtaining other certifications, then that helps that process.
Sure. And just to be clear, we're not saying once you get certified, you will earn more money. Yeah. We're saying the trend is that those who are certified statistically tend to earn more than those who are not SBE certified. So
exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not something that
it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, exactly. Not all companies require it. Not all companies will pay you more because of it, but it is a trend that we are seeing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think personally, I've always felt some of that is because those people who are certified are taking positive steps in their own careers,
Absolutely.
and therefore are maybe a little more involved, a little more proactive in their efforts in doing so. I remember at one point we used to talk about why be certified and use examples like your auto mechanic is certified, and I can't think of some of the other examples we used
I want
to.
to say dentist, but I don't think they.
That's a little bit different, but yeah, kind of along that line, I guess you could say. Um, but you know, it's a credential that shows others from a third party. It's not just your own word saying, "Oh yeah, I know that. I know all about this. I know what's going on." Someone else has stepped in to say, "Yeah, you've shown you have the ability, the skill, the knowledge that you claim to have," and go from there. So.
Well, and again, it's now been 50 years since this program has been around, so it's not a youngin out there.
Are the specialists also the renewal on them? It's actually, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's say someone holds multiple certification levels.
Mhm.
Um, they don't necessarily renew all at the same time. What are some of the steps somebody can take on that?
So up until recently, if you obtain certifications at different time periods, they typically would hold different expiration dates.
Mhm.
Um, Specifically, the specialists, I'll just jump to that really quickly. Those link onto their host certification. So that 5, 10, or 20-year certification, those hold the same number and the same expiration date as those certifications. But if you had a senior television engineer along with an ATSC3 specialist, and then you also at some time obtained the certified broadcast networking technologist, that might hold a different certification. A few months ago, the certification committee decided that when you have a certification coming up for recertification, you can now decide if you would like to sync any other certifications that you have that don't have hold that same expiration date to that upcoming expiring expiration date. So now that you can, I know it gets confusing. I know what I'm talking about. So basically, if you have multiple expiration dates with multiple certifications, you can now sync them to one. So you're not filling out a recertification application this month, and then in a year and a half, you're filling out another one that kind of overlaps in information and everything. It's just more streamlined. You don't have to do it. This is completely up to you, but I've had multiple people that have done it already since it's been implemented, and they're more than excited to streamline that process.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it certainly cuts down on some of the, like you said, repeating the form and sort of feeling
Oh
like
yeah,
I've been through all this before. Um, just makes it easier for the individual. So, and tracking of points for one is tracking of points for all, which
yeah.
brings me to the recertification process.
So there's a number of certifications, and they all kind of have, not all of them, there's I think 3 different groups ways to recertify. Um, the 2 operator levels, you just have to have been working in the industry, have an employer sign off on your duties, fill out the application, pay the fee, and send it in. Certified broadcast technologist and the certified production technologist, I believe. That's a newer certification, so we're not even in a recertification period for that one. But you just have to show that you've been working 2 out of the last 5 years in the industry, fill out the application, and send that in. Um, all of the other certifications, you can either retake the test, same with the other ones, and pass, or you can fill out the recertification application, and then there's a second application that goes along with that that's by professional credits. Professional credits, there's a number of categories that A through J that are broken out into different sections. So for instance, category A is employment. You would receive either 1 to 2 credits per year if you've been working in the industry. And that's for that 5-year level or 5-year block of time of your certification period. Um, If you are an SBE member, you get 1 credit per year. If you are watching this WEBxtra, then you get half a credit each WEBxtra that you view. If you're a member plus, not a member plus, but you viewed an SBE webinar, then you get 1 credit for that. So there's a variety of reasons: continuing education, factory and station schools, SBE chapters, chapter meetings. If you're a part of the chapter, there's a catch-all category. If something doesn't kind of meet any of those or any of the other categories, but you still think is relevant to continuing your educational process through those 5 years, you can put it in there. But you would have to obtain a minimum of 4 categories, and then a minimum number of credits. So it just varies depending on what level of certification you have. It's either 20, 25, or 30 credits. If you can imagine, 5 years is a long time to remember some of this stuff. So my suggestion would be to have some kind of process in place for when you believe you've obtained some of that credit. And some people have a folder. So if you print off, like I attended this webinar, and you print off the receipt and you put it in the folder, or you attended NAB and you have your badge and put it in the folder, or there's an area on our website where you can go in and put certain items on there that can track your credits.
And by the way, that's under the member profile section. And I've always get asked, well, where is that? Go to the membership directory, search for yourself. It's not vain. It's okay. Click on your own name, and only you will then have access to the section where you can record your points. You can even download them later. But I thought I'd insert that real quick.
Yeah.
Method.
That's great. We also have an Excel spreadsheet. So if you just want to pull up the spreadsheet and just type in whatever you just accomplished, and just save it for 5 years down the road, so you're not trying to remember what what chapter meetings you attended, how long at NAB that you were there, if you were a member of a different affiliated association for maybe a year out of those 5 years. All those things count towards recertification, and it's just a lot easier on you to remember it if you have a process in place for putting all that information throughout those 5 years.
Right.
If you don't, then I'm usually pretty good at reviewing an application, seeing where there's holes, and kind of picking your brain. So not all hope is lost. If you get to that point and you're like, I am short by 5 credits, or I don't think that I'm going to make it, and you're just going to let your certification expire, email or call me and we'll talk it through.
Chances are you can find some points somewhere.
Absolutely.
Or, as you just said, quickly earn them if you had to.
Yes.
So, not to say that it's a piece of cake. It doesn't take anything. There's
right.
a little effort involved, but yeah, it's not necessarily as hard as some people seem to think it could be.
I'm here to help you. I want you to succeed. It's good for the industry. It's good for all of us. So,
may I go ahead and bring up the 2 levels we haven't talked about at all yet, the operator levels?
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about them. There are 2 of them.
Right. We have a certified radio operator and a certified television operator. And those are more of your entry-level board operator type certifications. This is for a lot of people that call me that want to get certified. This is like your lowest hanging fruit. This is typically the quickest type of certification that you can get. And I'm not going to say easiest, just like easiest as in taking the exam, but easiest in the process of doing things. And that is that we have a book for each two different books, a radio one and a television one. And you would purchase the handbook, study from the handbook. There's about 70 sample questions in the back. And then when you're ready, there's a card in the back that you would fill out, mail it into me, and that redeems the exam. And that is either sent out to a proctor of your choice. There's parameters. Or you can do it during our normal exam sessions that we give a few times per year with the local chapters. And then that exam itself is 50 multiple choice questions. It's closed book and you're only given an hour, but all of those reasons is that all of the information is contained within that book. So as long as you've studied and know the information in that book, then you should be good to go.
And that is the only level of certification we have where there is a book of read this, study this, take the exam.
Right. Again, the lowest hanging fruit. It's
Right.
the most, all encompassing where it comes from that. The reason why I would say the other certifications don't do that is because, yes, we do have entry-level certifications, but other entry-level certifications, but the other questions that have been written by the certification committee have been written from their own knowledge, from doing the work every day. So they don't necessarily take a book or have written a book that has all the information in it. They've taken it from their vast knowledge. And the one thing that I hear so much from people taking the test is, that was so much easier than I thought because it's something that I do every single day.
Right.
So it does make it a little bit harder when you're trying to suggest reference materials for studying, but we do have something called the Cert Preview, which is our sample test software that you can purchase and then take sample tests that will kind of give you an idea of what to expect and how questions will be worded. It'll give you an idea of your strengths and weaknesses. And then I always tell people from there, go out and find study materials that kind of help you beef up in where your weaknesses are.
Sure. And we the SBE, provide a list of suggested references, many of which are available through the SBE bookstore, if not all of them.
Yes, there is a number of suggested references available there. We also have a number of webinars that can be helpful, as well as I know, for instance, with the ATSC3, the Pearl Manual is a good reference for that, and you can find that on the internet. We have a link to that. The other thing to know about our certification exams, with the exception of the operator ones, is that if there's a multiple choice portion of it, which all of the exams have 50 multiple choice questions, then that is open book. You're allowed to bring in notes and you're allowed access to the internet. So that can be very helpful for you as well. If you have an essay component with any of those certification exams, so that would be your networking engineer, any of your specialists, or the 2 senior certifications, radio and television, then they have an essay component. And that kind of varies whether or not it's one essay and that's the only one that you fill out, or sometimes there's 2 or 3 that you choose one from. But that portion is closed book. So you do the 50 multiple choice questions first and then get rid of all the other stuff. And then you would fill that out and do that as a closed book portion.
Gotcha. Cool. So I'm sure you get this question a lot from people who are just getting their feet wet in certification. Where do I start? Which level should I take? Which exam should I take or apply for right off the bat?
Good question. In some ways, it's completely up to you. So in other ways, it depends on how much experience that you have. So Chris, if you were to come to me and wouldn't hold a certification right now, you've been in the industry for probably 20 years, maybe a little bit more than that.
Yep.
So,
okay, use me as the example. So by experience, I qualify for CPBE, Certified Professional Broadcast Engineer. However, to get that, if I'm not a state licensed PE in some other situations, I would first have to hold senior level. So
right.
In my case, I would probably go ahead and apply for Certified Senior Radio Engineer, obtain that, and then at some point apply for my Professional Broadcast Engineer level.
Right. So
similarly, when I actually got involved, I didn't take the Certified Broadcast Technologist exam. I started right at Broadcast Radio Engineer. So I started at the 5-year level and just skipped CBT altogether.
And you have that option. Some people, so as long as you have the years of experience, you can jump in, with the exception of CPB, but you can jump in wherever you like to take the certification and try and be certified. In Chris's case, he could do the CBT and any of the entry-level certifications and then move up to the 5-year and then go to the 10-year if that's his comfort level. But he doesn't have to. He can jump in at any place that he wants to and hold that certification at that time. Kind of what Chris just mentioned is if you do have 20 years of experience, but you don't have any certification, or you do have a certification, but it's not a senior level certification, then in order to hold that highest level, that 20 years CPBE certification, you first have to get senior certified with a couple caveats, which are on our website. I won't go into, and then from there, you don't have to take a test to get CPBE. Once you hold a senior certification, you just have to have some prerequisites.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, we've certainly gone down the path of all the history and where we are and how to get into it. Kind of the crux of what we were talking about today, or the reason we're here, is because certification is, as we're now saying, 50 years old for having first been adopted in 1975 by the SBE Board of Directors. So with that, you and the certification committee have launched a program called CertConnect.
Yes. So there's actually a two-part challenge that we've launched, which CertConnect is where we would like all of the chapters to dedicate one of their chapter meetings from November of this year, which is just passed, to November of 2026, dedicated just to the certification program. There is a video that would be provided to the chapters, and any material in person, if you have the in-person meeting, if you'd like some material. If not, I can point to places on the website. And then by attending these chapter meetings, you would get a discount code for our CERT preview. So there's that one portion. And then the second portion is what we're calling our CertChallenge, which is during that November 2025 to November 2026 time period. We would like to challenge all of our members and non-members to either obtain a certification if you're not currently certified, upgrade your certification if you are due to upgrade. And if you do either one of those, then you would be entered into a drawing for a prize, a grand prize, if you will. Do you want me to go into that?
Sure. Tell us what they can win,
Megan.
Anna.
So again, you don't have to need to obtain the certification. If by chance you would not pass the test, you still get entered into the drawing. You just need to take that step for yourself to take a test, upgrade. And there's a couple other caveats, but again, that's on the website. So what you would win is an upgrade to Member Plus. So you wouldn't have to, you would only have to pay for your basic membership at that time. And then you would get the upgrade to Member Plus. You'd get free entry in the 2027 NS workshop at NAB, that workshop, $100 Amazon gift card, and then a certification pin and a membership pin is what you would receive for that.
Quite the prize pack.
Yeah, I think so.
Which hopefully is an incentive, although just getting certified alone and being taking an active step in your career should be the incentive in the first place. But a little icing on the cake certainly doesn't help.
Exactly.
It doesn't hurt, I should say. So as far as it's basically just apply. There's no special form or anything, just as long as they submit their application.
The website is laid out pretty well. So as long as you go to the website and then there's a certification tab, click on that, and then you will find any of the information that we talked about here today. You'll find the various levels that will give just a little bit of a breakdown. You'll find the link for the applications if you want to take a new certification. Or if you're going to recertify, there's a tab for recertification there. If you're interested in the CERT preview, you can access that as well. You can purchase the handbooks online and they'll get sent out to you. Suggested reference list, yeah. Again, under that certification tab, there's quite a bit of information.
Absolutely. Have you heard from any chapters who are already planning their CertConnect meeting night?
I have, yes. I believe chapter 38 in El Paso And then Chapter 15 in New York are both scheduled to do that.
Great. And for the CertConnect night, we've prepared a video on that as well to sort of be the core or the kickoff of the meeting itself. So there's something to present right off the bat, and then it can turn into a conversation from there. At least that's my understanding. Am I correct
Yes,
in all that? Okay.
you are correct. Yes, yes.
I'm supposed to know these things. We don't always remember them properly, but
yes, the chapter, if they decide to hold a CertConnect meeting throughout the year, then they just need to contact me. I will send them the link to the video, any of the information that they need, and then also that coupon code for that Cert preview. And then again, if anybody has any questions before or after that, then that's what I'm here for. So you can always contact me.
right. Is there anything I haven't covered or anything I haven't asked you yet about?
There's just a couple of items that so far are coming up for 2026 to look forward to. The two operator handbooks, the radio and television operator, those are getting and I don't want to say an overhaul because they've been updated throughout the years, but just more comprehensive redo. So there will be a new version coming out for both of those, hopefully by the middle to end of this year.
Okay.
And then also the digital radio broadcast specialist CERT preview just got a major review of the questions, and those have been updated. They have not yet been entered into the database yet. So just keep in mind, if that's one of the exams that you're looking forward to for next year or going to try and take, that will have a major upgrade this year as well.
Great. All right. Well, as usual, if there are any questions from the floor for Megan or about certification in general, we'll get your email address up there on the screen, mclapp@sbe.org. Contact info is also on the website under the About tab. So plenty of ways to reach you and get to know more about certification. And as you said, just go to the SBE website. The certification tab has all the forms, all the details, all the requirements, all the details on CertConnect and CertChallenge. And we certainly hope a lot of chapters will hold their own meeting, and we'll see a boost in number of people holding certifications or adding certifications as we mark 50 years of the program.
That would be amazing.
So, very good.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again for being here, Megan. Always good
Yep.
to have you on the SBE WEBxtra. Thanks for watching the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web from the Society of Broadcast Engineers, the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals. Thanks again to Megan Clapp for joining me today. If you hold SBE certification, viewing the SBE WEBxtra qualifies you for 1/2 point in Category G, that's attendance. It's just like attending a local chapter meeting. And if you have an idea for a topic or a guest for the SBE WEBxtra, send it to webextra@sbe.org. Thanks again for watching. I'm Chris Scherer, SBE Communications Director. I'll see you next month.